Minister of Planning and Development and Second Africa Climate Summit National Coordinator Fusuma Safa expressed confidence that the summit will strengthen Africa's collective voice on the world stage and drive meaningful outcomes in international climate policy. Fusuma announced that Africa is supposed to represent a unified front in global climate negotiations with the adoption of the Addis Ababa Declaration at the Second Africa Climate Summit. In a press conference, she declared that the massive conference signals a pivotal moment for the continent as it seeks to redefine itself from a victim of climate change to a key provider of global solutions. She stated that the Second Africa Climate Summit will culminate in the adoption of the Addis Ababa Declaration, a landmark document expected to unify Africa's stance on climate change.
Over the next 3 days, Africa Climate Summit 2 will focus on 2 key priorities. First, showcasing Africa-led solutions in renewable energy, adaptation, green growth, and nature-based resilience. And 2, unlocking climate finance by pushing for fair, predictable, and scaled-up resources for Africa's priorities.
The minister expressed confidence that this declaration will strengthen the continent's collective voice in global negotiations, particularly at the upcoming COP30 in Brazil. Fusuma also outlined her broader expectations for the conference, emphasizing its role in redefining Africa's position in global climate action and in securing the financial and technical resources. She stressed that the most critical outcome of the summit will be the creation of a unified African voice with greater influence on the international stage.
The summit is expected to deliver several major outcomes. The first one is the adopted Addis Ababa Declaration, presenting a unified African voices ahead of COP30 in Brazil and beyond. A strong call for a global finance reform and grant-based finance flow and investment commitment to accelerate Africa's resilient and green development is another expected outcome. Stronger partnerships between innovators and investors, ensuring that African solutions receive the global backing they deserve, is another outcome. Most importantly, the unified voice of Africa and global influence and leadership is another outcome. And finally, the flagship report of the African countries and organizations is also another expected outcome of the Second African Climate Summit.
The Addis Ababa Declaration serves as the central vehicle for advancing a unified African vision on climate action, consolidating the continent's shared priorities and strategic direction. Another major outcome of the summit will be the release of a flagship report developed by African countries and organizations.